Hello, and welcome back to the podcast where you are invited for lighthearted conversations about things that matter as you seek to live your most meaningful, beautiful, and joyful life. I'm your host, Dr. Edie Wadsworth, and I hope you enjoy your stay here at the House of Joy. Well, hi there, dear ones. Welcome back to the House of Joy podcast. I am your host, Dr. Edie. This is a solo episode, and I'm so excited because we are going to talk about your nervous system today. Listen, I am, as I record this, am I less than a week out? No. Okay, I'm 10 days out, I think, from my daughter Emmy's wedding, who you already know and love. And I just want to tell you something about the last couple of weeks of my life as we talk about regulating your nervous system. You would think a couple of weeks before your daughter's wedding would be peaceful, a time for quiet reflection, maybe a time to fully cry all my tears for the fact that she should still be 7 years old, all legs and hair in dance. Maybe I'd make time for a nice facial. Well, apparently my nervous system did not get the memo because instead of relaxing, I decided to get an acid peel. Because clearly what every mother needs before her daughter's wedding is to shed an entire layer of her skin. Actually, it hasn't been peeling as bad as I thought. And in true Edie fashion, I decided that it was the perfect week to reinvent my wardrobe. You guys cannot believe my wardrobe system now. It's so fun to get dressed. I decided to rewrite the main guidebook that we use for our business. I decided to have a session of deep trauma splunk therapy. And I took up English horseback riding. So that's how I'm doing, everyone. This is how I deal with my stress when my nervous system is probably a little activated. My family's response, concerned but not very surprised. But I do feel like this, though. I was looking back and I'm like, okay, how do I make sense of this? All these things that I've been really drawn to and doing in the last couple of weeks. A lot of writing. I've been doing a lot of reading. I've been doing a lot of horseback. I've been at this therapy. I've been thinking to myself, what's going on here? Here's what I noticed. In some ways, these are all things that actually regulate me. I love reading and writing. I had a bunch of time to do that when I was traveling. And I was so into it that I kept it up when I got home. I made my whole team stay with me on Zoom for hours at our meeting on Monday so that we could rewrite this book and get all the edits made that we wanted to make. But I do feel like, in a way, I'm like, oh, maybe my system does know that these are the kinds of things that I need to kind of help me regulate, bring me back to peace in some ways and love. Although it's been a little chaotic, I'm not going to lie, but I don't feel stressed. So I don't know. Am I just in complete denial? Who knows? We've actually, Tom and I both signed up for these English writing lessons. Now, we've taken a lot of Western saddle horseback riding. This is our first time to do English horseback riding, you guys. And I am so smitten. Even the leggings and the different boots and the helmet. Tom looked so cute when I was at the barn yesterday and he was helping one of the girls there. They were tacking up a horse together. I was watching this and thinking to myself, this is like Little House on the Prairie. This is like this is what teenagers should be doing in the world. It was so picturesque. It was the perfect October day. Miss Deanie that teaches the lessons, complete legend and dream. I was just like, this is exactly what we need right now, even right before the wedding. So, and the thing of it is, like horses are really sensitive to your energy. You can't fake it around them. Your energy tells the truth. If you're tense, they're tense. You relax, they're more relaxed. And I think they're kind of like living mirrors of your nervous system in a way. And the fact that you have to be really present and you have to kind of tune everything else out and be like present in the present moment. Literally, the last few times I've been able to watch Tom ride, I'm so impressed. He is such a natural. He's always been like this around the horses. As soon as he walks up to the horse field, they all come to greet him. There's something about his energy they love. But watching him ride, he's so steady and grounded and so himself, not one bit nervous. I feel like it's like, man, he's really, really regulated. And I think that when he's on a horse, and I think they can feel that like when he's around them. So, anyways, it's been really cool. And I do think that I have had to work at this because my normal baseline for my nervous system coming out of my 20s and 30s was like this inward kind of frantic, like outwardly I was fine, but inwardly I felt really frantic and kind of fight or flighty or some version of that. And it has taken me a lot of practice to learn how to regulate myself, to learn to create internal safety no matter what is going on externally. And I just thought this would be a good one for us to chat about as I'm headed into wedding week. You guys, I'm so excited about it. We've literally been planning this for a year. I love Haddon. I love his family. I love our family. And when we're together, I love all of Emmy's friends. Like, I literally can't wait. I'm so excited for it. There's just a lot, right? There's a lot to it. And Emmy and I were talking on the phone today, and as we do multiple times every day, trying to see, do we have all of our bases covered? What do we need to do now? So I have had to really work at creating calm and safety and peace and joy and love internally, even when things externally felt busy. I can't even tell you the lists that I have going right now. Over here in my office, if you're watching on YouTube, I have all of these stations, like bags ready to go. I have a bunch of my clothes, for wedding week, kind of already on this thing, trying to just make sure I have what Stevie's wearing and what I'm wearing, and just all the stuff that I'm packing, because the wedding's, in Chattanooga, which is 2.5 hours away. Like, it's a lot. But I'm so thankful that I've been doing this work for the last few years to create a lot of peace and safety and joy inside my body, no matter what's going on outside. So I want to ask you, how do you feel like you're doing with this sort of nervous system regulation? And it's basically the communication between your brain and body. It's like you're constantly asking yourself, your body is constantly asking your brain, am I safe? And we have these two main emotional states, two main emotional homes. Your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest. That's a state of love and safety and connection. That's the state that we want to be living in, 90% of the time. Our heart slows, our breathing deepens, we can digest our food well, we feel creative, we feel open, we feel in flow. So let me ask you, how much of your time do you spend in that state versus the other main emotional state, which is your sympathetic nervous system? It's a state of fear and stress and survival. Now, we need both states, by the way. God created our bodies to experience both. We need both. We need the ability to get into fight or flight or freeze when we need to. It's what helps us, get away from danger, or it's what helps us sometimes have the courage to do something that we wouldn't do. But when you live in this sympathetic state, your body forgets what peace feels like. And unfortunately, the hormones that are associated with this sympathetic state are very addictive. We get addicted to adrenaline. I have said this before, but I was an adrenaline junkie for most of my life, just always trying to, it was probably part of my ADHD, always trying to make my brain feel alive. What's the next thing I can do? What's the next stress? I didn't realize I was asking for stress, but in a way I was kind of seeking out those chemicals. And the kicker is this: your nervous system doesn't know the difference between you being in a real emergency and being chased by a bear, or you getting a snarky comment from a coworker, or an eye roll from your teenager.
Hey guys, it's Emmy, and I'm popping in to tell you about the sponsor of today's episode, Cozy Earth. I actually just got back from my parents' house. I stayed in their guest bedroom, which they have the Cozy Earth sheets on, and I had the best night's sleep of my life. I immediately came home and put them on my wedding registry. They are made from viscose from bamboo, and they feel buttery soft. They're temperature regulating, and I'm not kidding. I slept several degrees cooler. And don't even get me started on the pajamas. I live in them. They feel like luxury. I almost sleep in them every single night. And if there's one thing I tell you to upgrade in your home, it's your sheets and your PJs. The best part, you get to try them risk-free with a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty. Yeah, 10 years. So go to cozyearth.com and use my code HOJ for up to 20% off. And if you get a survey at the end, let them know that House of Joy sent you. Because home isn't just where you live, it's how you feel. Let's go home with Cozy Earth.
Your nervous system reacts, it kind of knows two states, safe or unsafe. And when it registers something as unsafe, your breathing shortens, your shoulders tighten, your heart rate spikes, you move out of being present in your body and present and open and connected to protective, fighting, leaving, surviving mode. And you lose access to the part of your brain that creates love and joy and peace, and all of the emotional states that we actually want to live in. And why this matters, it matters so much. I mean, it affects so many parts of our lives. And I know that as women, we know this. We are the regulators of this in our home. We are the ones who kind of set the temperature. And I have often had to ask myself, how easily am I thrown off of this? How easily do I let those external circumstances shift me into an emotional way of being that I don't love, where my nervous system is activated and I feel really stressed and I'm overwhelmed and I'm reactive and snappy? Listen, you guys, I got in this state just this very morning. And I've been doing this work for 10 years. So you're not trying to get to a point where you never get in that state. Obviously, you're human and you're going to. What you want to do is learn how to bring yourself back. And I have learned, and I'm going to tell you at the end, I've learned a few tricks for myself that really work, but you'll have to figure out for you, what is it that brings you back to your true self, into regulation, into openness and connection. It's that moment when you pause and you notice and you breathe instead of just instantly reacting. When you become the observer of the experience instead of being swept away by it. It's really self-leadership. This is one of the things that I teach my master coach students. It's self-leadership, learning to lead yourself first. And often what we say to ourselves when we're being reactive, it's his fault or her fault. They're the ones who triggered me, instead of taking responsibility and living in our emotional power, where we learn to embody what we really truly value. And every time you do this, you bring yourself back to your true self. You name what you're feeling, you choose a new thought, you allow that emotion instead of resisting it. You are helping your nervous system know what it's like to shift from fear to love. And every time you do that, it's like a rep at the gym. You're practicing it and practicing it and practicing it. So one of the things that has always been a little tough for me is the drive to school. Because usually I realize at like 6:45 in the morning that there's some kind of assignment that isn't quite done that we're going to need to finish. And my system just instantly is like, ugh. But then I have to try to remember, like, okay, let's approach this. This is not the end of the world. I do that. I stop. I pause. I think to myself, we've got this. This won't take very long. I can help Tom, get this finished. We'll work on it on the way. But it's so easy, specifically at that time of day, for me to get frustrated. And it's not that the getting frustrated and getting activated and shifting my emotional state helps me achieve the thing I want to. It doesn't, but it feels so necessary at the time to be irritated and frustrated, doesn't it? Can I get an amen? It kind of feels necessary. It's hard to let go of it. And it's not just mindset work, it's literally body work, because when your body feels safe again, your mind opens. So notice this the next time you get activated. Notice how you feel in your body. Notice where you're tight. Notice your breathing. I bet your breathing gets really shallow. Notice where you're tense. Notice your jaw, your shoulders. Just that amount of noticing really helps me because I go, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to feel this way. This is not my best, right? And it helps me realize that the sooner I shift back, the better off I'm going to be. Not to mention everybody else, but the better off I'm going to be. So I just want to shift back as quickly as I can. So I want to mention a few ways that I do this. Maybe this will help you when you or feel activated, or if you feel like, you've got a lot on your plate and your nervous system. I noticed this honestly this week because I was really waking up a lot and I'm like, oh, my nervous system is really activated. Like it's hard for me to sleep this week. And so I've just been doing extra things to kind of help myself. But 3 ways that I think will help you regulate that help me. Number 1 is just to pause and get quiet. Even if this is for 5 minutes a day, you guys, you can't connect to your body. You can't hear your own wisdom. You won't even be aware that you're doing this if you don't take time to get a little quiet. 5 minutes to just pause, breathe, pray, journal. What's actually true for me right now? What do I want this day to be about? I have started this thing in the mornings with Tom where we listen to an inspirational podcast just for 2 or 3 minutes before I drop him off. And it's so interesting because he was like, kind of, he's a little cantankerous. He's like, I don't want to listen to that. But it was very inspirational. So after a minute or two, you're like, oh, that does sound kind of good. And I just noticed that even that much, getting quiet, maybe taking something else in, doing a little journaling, reconnecting to who you are and what really matters. And I noticed this works for me even in the moment, that I just need to get quiet for a second and remember, oh, when I feel like this, I don't like it, no matter what, quote unquote, triggered the event or activated me. Number 2 is to use the tools you have. So if you've been around me for very long or you're in my programs, I teach a lot of good tools that help this. One of the ones that I love using is my true self. What would my true self do? What really matters here? If I look underneath the behavior or whatever's happening, what really matters here? That really helps me because it helps me to, like, what would my true self, what's really important here in this time where I'm frustrated? What do I really want at the end of this? Right? So if at the end of this, I really want for this to be a time together where the two of us are connected and we work through something, then what state do I need to be in to get there? So pausing before you react, naming what you feel, noticing the thoughts you're thinking. One of the thoughts, and I bet this is true for you, that gets me out of my true self every time is, this shouldn't be happening. I can't believe this is happening again. I can't believe there's this again. Here we are again. That thought seems necessary and true, and it is so not helpful. No, here exactly is where we are again, of course. Right? Of course we are. And when I go to that, I get into more problem solving mode, into just being mad about the thing the way it is. Really learning to accept what is a powerful tool. This is what is, now what? Instead of fighting with what is. And when you get into that mode, it's like a signal to your body. No, this was always supposed to be happening right now. This is what is. It's like this subtle signal to your body that you're safe. No, we were supposed to be here right now. You're safe. I also love remembering I always have everything I need. I always have all the tools I need, everything I need. That thought is really helpful. So maybe those couple of thoughts, those tools will help you. Number 3 is to move back in alignment with your body. And this doesn't have to be big. Music, a walk, stretching, riding a horse. Movement releases stored energy and signals safety to your nervous system. So how can you move through this, whatever the emotional state is, frustration, anger, move through it? Presence lives in your body. You got to move your body, let that emotion move through you. Emotions are like waves. They're not going to overtake you. Just let it move through you. When you do that, you feel so much better on the other side. Again, another signal of safety to your nervous system. It's okay to be right here where we are, feeling this emotion. Emotions are just messages, they're just waves. There's nothing bad about them. And when we do this, we bring ourselves back into regulation. I also just think that this is like spiritual discipline. It's like spiritual formation. It's how we align ourselves with love in a world that is constantly pulling us into fear. It's the moment that we really can just sit and be still and hear God say, all is well. That's what joy really means, you guys, on the House of Joy podcast. All is well. It's that deep down sense that God is for us, that He loves us, that somehow all is well. All will be well. So when you have these moments in the next week, I want you to practice this. And I'm going to be practicing this, you guys. We just have literally 10 days left before this amazing wedding. And I just want the time to feel full and alive. I want to feel joy and connection and openness. And if we stop calling the thing stress and start recognizing it as that, as aliveness, for me, everything softens. I breathe again. I remember who my true self is, how I want to show up. I realize that the love is always right there, just waiting for me to slow down enough to experience it. So I hope this helps you. I can't wait to see you on the next episode. On the next episode? No, I think it'll still be before the wedding. I think we've got one more. I can't remember. Anyways, I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope you believe it with all of your heart that God is for you, that you're His beloved, that all is well. Until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye for now.